Hey everybody, welcome to the Simhanger. My name is Mark. In this video, we're turning our attentions towards Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. And at the recently held development update, Marcel Bossard, the executive producer for Microsoft Flight Simulator from Osobo, gave us a sneak peek at the new user interface. But more importantly, we also got a look at the new config options available. Marcel gave us a broad brush overview of some of the features that are available. And from the images displayed, I'll also stick my neck out and make some assumptions. Yeah, I know, always a dangerous thing. The first thing we can see is that what was under the options before now come under settings. This includes general, which would include your graphic settings, assistance, config controls, accessibility, and VR. And from my perspective, the new UI or user interface, well, it's a big improvement. Currently, as you can see, we're on the Controls tab, and there are some significant time-saving and improvements in this new upcoming version, which will apply, of course, to both Xbox and PC. First up, and of significance in terms of time-saving, you'll be able to change your aircraft right here in the Controls menu. This means no running back to the world map, selecting a different aircraft, and then heading back to the control options. This alone is a big win. Under Device List, any devices connected will be shown, but perhaps the biggest and most interesting change is that your configurations can now be done in layers. There are 3 layers available. There's the General Controls, Airplane Controls, and Specific Aircraft Controls. And we can see the cog next to them, so we can access separate menus for each one of these. But what does this mean? Well, for your particular controller that you've selected, in this case it's the T16000M, you can assign some general controls. This means they're going to apply across all profiles for this device. Underneath that is airplane controls. I wish they'd use the word aircraft, but hey. And once again, these would be default settings that you wanted to apply across all the aircraft when using this controller, perhaps Z-axis for rudder, for example. And the third and final layer applies particularly to that aircraft. Might be a gear up or gear down or no gear setting, for example, or perhaps more typically an aircraft that perhaps has a water rudder. These type of bespoke actions that only apply to certain aircraft can now be allocated per aircraft. I don't know what you think, but I think I just got half my life back. Once again, with each of these you can use filters, search by action, such as throttle or autopilot for example, and one I use a lot, search by input. Categories as before are grouped together under camera, cockpit, menu and so on, as before, but at least now they're separated rather than what in reality has become just one rather confusing long list. Notice on the right hand side they have hardware settings, and I'm assuming if that's selected, perhaps that will take us to our sensitivity settings, and underneath that is something control listener. I have absolutely no clue exactly what that'll be doing. If you know or have got some ideas, please comment below for both my and other users' benefit. Also looking towards the top right there, the user is shown, in this case Captain Flam77. Wonder if that's Marcel or Seb. Then next to it, we can see a fairly large number with a credit. Again, I'm not totally clear on that, but as the sim to some degree is going to be activity and adventure based, perhaps we'll be able to collect various credits as we complete tasks. Next to that is the notification and the friends icon, and access to the major settings menu, and the icon next to that in green I can only assume is a quick jump to the marketplace. This next screenshot here is very interesting indeed, most notably as we are able to access it and change your configurations and assignments and mappings on the fly whilst in the sim and whilst flying. And as can be seen here, we can access it from the top toolbar, or as it might be called, the control bar. Assignable actions, as we can see here, are all grouped together in a logical format, for example, all external camera options under one setting. Marcel also mentioned something else which was very interesting, and that is configs can be saved and stored in what is now going to be called packages. These will be accessible via the dev mode and accessible to developers so they can include various configs and I assume subsequently update them as needed for the particular peripheral that you've got. As you may or may not be aware, all configurations are currently stored in the cloud and assigned under your login. What I'd like to see is the user's ability to save their configurations separately and locally, just in case the worst happens and we lose them. It happened to me once, and it was a massive exercise to go ahead and reconfigure all the various peripherals. Well, that's about as much information as has been shared at the moment. And I must say, the new UI is looking very good indeed, and certainly quicker and more user-friendly. To digress slightly, if I may, the one disappointment I had was that in terms of multiplayer, there won't be crossover between version 2020 and 2024. That's a real shame. Anyway, that's it for the video. Is there something missing that you'd like to see? Please comment below. But in terms of moving the simulation platform forward, well done to Asobo and Microsoft. Thank you as always for joining me. Stay well, look after yourself. See you again soon. And ciao for now.